Producer Scott Pennyman here with, you can introduce yourself.
Lee Smith. Woo!
Lee, I feel like it's been a while since we've done the show together, man.
It has been, but it's glad to be glad to be back, and let's get going, man.
How's life been? Good?
Yeah. Can't complain, dude. Just getting through this football season.
Football season is a whirlwind, man.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, just, once the games start playing and we get to cover in high school and UGA and doing the SEC wrap-up show and doing the Falcons, I mean, it just feels like you just stick your head inside of a tunnel, man, and you don't bring it out until January. It's crazy.
Yeah, but it's here.
Yeah. So it's definitely here, and you know that football season is here when you start getting into some of these ESPN articles. During the week, it's always kind of crazy season, right? Throughout the week, everyone sort of gives their analysis on what they're seeing and everything. So when you take a look at ESPN.com this week, they have an article where they basically rate the top 5 or so quarterbacks that have the best chance of being benched. Now, this is just after 3 weeks of the NFL season, so there's a lot of football left to play. But our guy Desmond Ridder landed at number 4 on that list of quarterbacks most likely to be benched. When you see that, based on what you've seen these first 3 weeks, do you think that's realistic?
Yes and no, but it's going to take a while if it does happen, because they've, the Falcons have basically given him the keys of the kingdom. So It would be very dramatic, in my opinion, to do that at any week, week 1 or 2 weeks away, 1 week away, Maybe at the end of the season if everything's going really badly, but honestly, I don't think so. Not right now. I mean, there's no way. Come on, 3 games.
Yeah, I mean, I think
they had one. He had one really bad game against Detroit, but guess what? The whole team did.
Yeah, I mean, he was sacked a bunch in that game. Like 7 times he got put on his butt, right? So yeah. I mean, look, I get where people are coming from, just from the standpoint of this offense and what you've seen from the offense right now. It just leaves so much to be desired, right? I mean, when you look at some of the targets on offense, I mean, obviously Bijan's had a pretty solid start to the season so far. But I think people wanted to see the ball more in the hands of Drake London, right? First-round pick last year, top 10 pick. You think he have a breakout year this year. Kyle Pitts, I mean, this was really supposed to be his breakout season within this offense, and the numbers just aren't there. I mean, he's only catching a couple balls a game, only getting a couple targets per game. They broke down different film on different networks that show Kyle Pitts standing by himself, open when he goes off a route. Desmond Ridder not quite finding him, or maybe just the offense, or maybe just that play not designed to go to him. I don't know what it is, but when you look at the offense the first 3 games, yes, they're 2-1. The important part is that you win football games, so that's most important. Let's not gloss over that. But when you look at what this offense was supposed to be heading into the season, I just wonder if Desmond Ridder is the kind of quarterback that can get him there.
And it obviously remains to be seen. I mean, it just really depends. If you get the Desmond Ridder who shows up against Detroit, it's going to be tough. Honestly, he hasn't had to really throw the ball yet, so that's kind of, I don't know, man. It's tough because with this offense, like, he doesn't really have to throw the ball down the field. He doesn't have to really make crazy decisions. I mean, if his receivers get open, he should be able to hit them on intermediate passes, right? I mean, the deep ball might not be there. They might not want to take chances. He might be a little more conservative, because at the end of the day, you hope your run game can take over a football game. And with the draft capital you have, spending for a first-round running back, you expect a better outcome than 33 yards.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of where I'm at. Just when you think of, just as a fan watching the offense, basically as in just analyzing things. I mean, not even really as a fan, but when you just sit back and you analyze these games and you look at what they have on offense, right? I mean, it just seems like, I don't know whether they're just kind of just bringing him along really slowly. I don't know if that's really what the goal is, but the offense doesn't really look the way you thought it would look headed into the season. I mean, when I look at this offense, I'm like, okay, so you got Pitts there. in football, that's one of the easiest things to hit is the tight end, right? I mean, when you look at some of these teams, that's the safety net for some of these young quarterbacks is having a really good, reliable tight end. Now, I don't know if it's just the design of the offense, if they're just not really, but it just seems like Kyle Pitts, he should be getting no less than 8 to 10 targets every game.
Yeah.
Every game.
Yeah.
Like, I understand why it may be a little bit more difficult to get the ball to Drake London just because he's an outside receiver. Things have to line up right in order to get him the ball, so I understand how that works. But Kyle Pitts, for where he lines up at, you should be beating teams over the head with Kyle Pitts.
So here's the thing. Okay, so how many offensive snaps do you think they get a game?
It was like 70 or
okay, so if Kyle gets 15 targets, Drake gets at least 10. Mm-hmm. You've got Bijan getting at least 15, if not 20.
Yeah.
And then Algiers probably going to get about 8 to 10. So you look at that, it figures to be a pretty solid little number. But guess what? In the real world, things aren't like they are on paper.
Yeah, I mean, it really seems like it's a lot of there's enough plays to go around. It seems like there's enough balls to go around as far as what the offense could be. It just seems like I don't know if they just don't have the confidence in Desmond and really feel like that he can get this offense where it needs to be, that he can distribute the ball, if they're scared that he's going to turn the ball over, if they're scared, because a lot of teams, they treat these young quarterbacks like, kind of with kid gloves, and they go, we don't really know what he can do, and we're scared for him to turn the ball over, so we basically turn him into a robotic quarterback that just, dump it down and do all that stuff. I don't know what it is, but all I know is this offense is not going to get to where it needs to go if you don't let him just unleash him a little bit.
Yeah, and I don't know if it's a offensive coordinator thing or if he's being hesitant himself. So
right,
if they're not calling deep shots and they don't want him to do that, they don't want him to force the balls, then great. But at some point, you're gonna have to win the game,
right? Not
play to lose. You're going to have to play to win the game.
That's what I think.
And might as well go ahead and try that now. I mean, when you're not playing divisional opponents.
Yeah, I mean, so that's all I'm saying. I mean, look, they're 2-1 bottom line, so they've won more games than what they've lost, so that's obviously a good thing. But I just feel like for them to get to where this offense needs to be to really be cooking, and this is Desmond's second year, right? And you have other young quarterbacks that are being used a lot differently, right? I mean, there's a lot of young quarterbacks. When you look at C.J. Stroud down with the Texans, he's thrown for 300 yards already in a game this season. So, I mean, there are other –
against the Jags.
Yeah. I mean, so he's looked pretty good throwing that ball, So there's other young quarterbacks that are getting opportunities to put the ball down the field. So that's why it makes me wonder, is the coaching staff not really confident that Desmond can make those plays downfield, or maybe they think he's going to turn the ball over or something. I don't know, but it just seems to me, if I had to guess, I mean, I don't know. I mean, I watched them out there in training camp and everything. It's just so hard to get a good read on them, But bottom line, they're 2-1, and so now they move forward to.
They've got some hope, and this might be a get back game for them. They might get right back on track against Jacksonville and London on Sunday. So.
But Jacksonville hasn't really played that well this season.
No, they haven't. This would be the one to. This would be the one to capitalize on.
Yeah, I mean, I think when you look at what they've been this season, they're not really. They haven't – Jacksonville, I thought they were going to come out the gate storm fast. Jacksonville looked like a team with Trevor Lawrence. It looked like he really turned the corner last season. Yeah. And now kind of when you look at them right now, it's like they look a little flat. But remember, that Jacksonville team did start slow last year. They caught fire late. They won the division, and they won a playoff game. So we'll see what happens this year, right?
Yep.
So let's move on a little bit to some college football. Well, no.
No.
We'll stay pro. I only thought about college football because I saw the name.
Getting a little ahead of himself.
So, Jalen Carter, UGA dog, obviously, dropped a little bit in the 2023 draft just because of some things off the field. There were some questionable character concerns. So he drops to the Philadelphia Eagles. And I tell you what, that might have been the worst thing for the entire NFL, other than the Philadelphia Eagles, that Jalen Carter dropped where he dropped, because he's been a dominant force so far at defensive tackle. He's Pro Football Focus #1 ranked defensive tackle in the NFL through 3 games. But when you watch these games, and I've watched a couple of their games so far, he's been an absolute difference maker. Look at the Monday night game against the Buccaneers. I mean, he was a very disruptive force, forced a fumble, was getting in there. I think he may have had a sack too. He's been a complete disruptor early in the season. I mean, he looks like he's a candidate to make the NFL All-Pro team. I mean,
let's not get ahead of ourselves that far. Come on now.
Did you expect this already?
I mean, look. Yes. Okay. 3 games. Whoa. 3 games in. That's awesome. Great. You got a little bit more to go. So I don't know if I'm going to go all in on the best in the league so far thing, because guess what? There's still that guy in L.A. His name's Aaron Donald, and he absolutely wrecks everything. So there's that.
He's a decent player.
I'll take him over everybody else. Don't care what the situation is.
Sure.
Circumstance, whatever. Chris Jones, a guy who just got paid back in the Chiefs.
Well, yeah, I guess if you're going by track record, sure. I mean, those guys, of course, would be the pick. But, I mean, I think
I do think Jalen's going to make a really big impact this year, because as the season wears on, he's just going to get more playing time because people are going to get hurt. Either he's going to pick up production and he's going to basically impress the coaches to a point where they can't afford to not play him.
No, man, you can't. I mean, he's a total disruptor. And just think, he went to a team that was in the Super Bowl last season. So, I mean, it's not even hard to break that lineup when you consider they drafted Jordan Davis, who was already there. You have Fletcher Cox, who's a longtime veteran defensive tackle. He's had a borderline Hall of Fame career. So they have some horses up front. Jalen has stepped in, become a starter, and immediately become their most disruptive force on the defensive side of the ball. And I think there's going to be a lot of teams. Look, I mentioned when we did this show months ago, before the draft, before I even knew where he was going, when we knew he was going to kind of drop some, I said, I think there's going to be a lot of teams that are going to be very regretful that they passed on Jalen Carter. And I liken that situation to the 1995 NFL draft when Warren Sapp dropped really far because of some off-the-field allegations the same kind of way, and he became a Hall of Fame player. I'm not necessarily saying Jalen becomes a Hall of Fame player, but when you look at his first 3 games so far, he looks like he has that potential. One day.
So do you think the Falcons could have used him instead of Bijan?
Absolutely. Well, okay, so Bijan's been really nice. I'm not going to take anything away. That's been a good draft pick. Bijan's been really good. He's been a really good playmaker for the Falcons so far, a really good Swiss Army knife. Yeah, but
because literally everyone who was drafted before Jalen Carter isn't always going to be compared to Jalen Carter if he has like some Hall of Fame career.
Yeah, I mean,
and not saying they both can't do it.
Right.
I'm not saying that. They certainly could, but
it's
mighty hard. It's mighty hard to look at the tape and say, "Oh wow, maybe we should have taken it on him." Maybe we should have picked him.
That's something to think about though, because when you think about it, I mean, in every draft, there's a really good running back. Yeah. Every draft, you can get, I'm not saying that you can get a Bijan Robinson next year, but you can get a really good back early in next year's draft. I don't know if you can get a disruptive defensive tackle the way Jalen Carter has been so far with the Eagles. So, I mean, they may be one of the teams that may look back at this and go, man, we missed one right there,
They very well could.
But we'll see. So, let's talk about some NBA real quick, right in the middle of some football. We'll jump to college, but let's talk about a little NBA. I don't know if you heard.
Oh, everyone heard.
But it was a pretty big trade in the NBA yesterday with Dame Lillard headed to the Milwaukee Bucks to go team up with Giannis Antetokounmpo. Big 3-team trade that involved the Phoenix Suns, DeAndre Ayton's going to Portland, and some more pieces are going to. But look, this is mostly about Dame Lillard going to Milwaukee.
And Drew Holiday getting shipped from Milwaukee.
Right, and that's going to be big to see where he lands.
Yeah,
because he's probably going to be traded from Portland. So when you look at,
you think so?
Yeah, I think Drew Holiday.
You think so?
Traded. Yeah, because I don't think he's much of a use to the Portland team. They aren't going to contend for anything. He's a kind of an advanced age player. I mean, I think that he's a really good candidate to be either. I don't think he's going to be bought out. I think they'll trade him.
And
I think a contender will come a calling.
Hey, look, when they were 2021 NBA Finals, or that whole run.
Yeah.
When the Hawks actually made it to the Eastern Conference Finals.
Yes, sir.
Drew Holiday was tremendous. Now,
Sure
Chris Middleton showed up a couple of games and hit everything known to mankind.
For sure.
But Drew Holiday is really the one that got that team going, not Giannis. I mean, because Drew's the assist man.
He is.
He gets the ball to everybody. He runs that floor. Dude, I'm telling you, the stuff he was doing in that, Eastern Conference Finals and Finals was it was just crazy.
And he's tremendous on the defensive end. Tremendous.
Yes.
Tremendous on the defensive end. That's kind of where he earns his money. I mean, he's obviously a really good scorer.
Does he want to become a Hawk?
Right. Well, yeah. I mean, well
We'll take some defense right now.
Well, the other holidays did, so may as well, right?
Hey, just go ahead and make it a triple threat right there.
Yeah,
the trio.
So when you look at the Milwaukee side of things, do you think they become the instant favorite to win an NBA championship?
I mean, I would think so, right? On paper, and of course, on paper means literally nothing when the season starts.
Games aren't played on paper; they're played inside TV sets.
Yes, yes, they are. No. It just depends on what does Giannis look like. I mean, if he's an MVP level player again, then yes, I would think that Dame and Chris Middleton could also be those secondary players to give him that little security blanket, so he doesn't have to go in, night out, and just absolutely dominate and worry about getting double and triple team.
Yeah, and that's what this is about.
Yes, I do think that they right now I think they would probably be. But Golden State, though, man, I'm telling you, with that trio still intact.
And Chris Paul, Chris Paul too. And then
yeah.
You look at the Lakers. The Lakers have a lot back. When you think about Denver, obviously, they won the NBA championship.
Okay, how about this? I'll say they'd be the favorites in the East. How about that?
Yeah. Phoenix Suns. I mean, just think about it. They got KD and Bradley Beal and
Booker,
and now they got Nurkic too. I mean, look, this is really the makings of it. That's one thing that makes player movement really make the NBA so popular in the offseason, that there's so much player movement. There's a lot of different moving parts in the offseason, and that really makes the league fun because you got big-time franchise-changing players like Dame Lillard really tilting the balance of who is going to really be in the championship picture. So I think this is great for the NBA, all this player movement. I know a lot of people don't like it. They like the old school and, guys should be with a team for 15, 16 years. No, I mean, this is really cool to see new faces in new places. Kevin Durant, Dame Lillard, LeBron James has moved to a bunch of different teams. This is great for the league because we're sitting here talking about it. There's not even being NBA games played yet, and we're talking about the impact that Dame Lillard could have in Milwaukee, who, by the way, on social media, I talked about that months ago when he was talking about Miami and how he wanted to go to Miami and everything like that. I said Milwaukee, I thought that would be the best fit because obviously Giannis is already an NBA champion, won the 2021 NBA championship and finals MVP. So I really felt like that was one of the strongest things, for him, but we'll see.
So, I'll say this along those same lines. How does Jimmy Butler feel right now that they couldn't get the deal done for Miami?
Jimmy Butler's salty, but he'll be okay.
God.
Hey, let's jump to some college football real quick. So just real quick here, when you think about Auburn playing the Dogs this week, right? I mean, that's from Auburn. You'll be there, right?
Yes.
Hey, so
yes.
Could this be a game? Do you think Auburn could upset UGA?
Yes. I think they could.
Wow.
I don't think they will. I don't think they will. Georgia's just too much.
Gotcha.
At the end of the day, I think their defense is really good. I don't think they're quite to the level, for sure, 2 years ago that they are now.
Gotcha.
Maybe even last year. I don't know. They might have had a better defense last year, but they're still really, really, really good. And probably top 3 in college football, if not top 1. I mean, I don't know. I don't want to be biased. I haven't watched all the other conferences, but I do know that, they are good on the defensive side of the ball. Obviously, everybody wants to know how Carson Beck is going to react to all this noise because he's never been in a true road environment. He's never started a road game. So, hey, only time will tell. Look, Auburn can certainly pull an upset. I promise you, I've seen it so many times as an Alabama fan.
Gotcha.
They can certainly pull the upset. Whenever you discount them, like you never have anything when they have so many things going against them. Right. As long as they're at home, I don't know what it is. They just seem to work miracles. So, yes, it can. I don't think it will.
All right, so I'll tell you what. We're going to jump out of this, right? We're going to get back to some Falcons on the other side here. We're going to take a quick little pause.
Okay.
And so then we're going to get back. We're going to listen to Arthur Smith talk a lot about what it's going to be. They're traveling to London. As a matter of fact, they probably are in the air right now or on the way there to London to go play their game against the Jaguars this week. National TV game, right?
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. So we'll get a little bit about what Arthur thinks about that trip. Take a quick little pause, and then we'll be right back to hear from Falcons head coach Arthur Smith.
All right.
We're not doing this promo, are we?
What's up?
Are we doing a promo right now?
No,
I don't think so.
We're live. You gotta click it.
Oh, I'm sorry.
You should. Guess not.
It's not playing for me. It didn't want to go. You know what?
No. You should go back.
You know what? We're gonna stay here.
Technical difficulties. We'll get those. We'll get that to work next time.
We'll get it all worked out. It's all good. I wanted to hear from Arthur Smith, man. We had a bunch of things he was going to talk about. You know what it's going to be like playing over in London and everything like that. So yeah. So look, I mean, but you know, kind of like just the gist of what he said. He's basically saying like, look, we're looking forward to flying over there. We can't wait. All right, we can't wait to get to it. Flying overseas. Playing the Jaguars and just being in that feature game. I mean, it's a 9:30 game. That should be pretty dope just to be in front of the country like that, just so everybody to be able to see what the Falcons are and what they're going to be this season. I think it's in a tough game. I mean, obviously they're going against Trevor Lawrence, obviously from Cartersville. They'll be going against Trevor Lawrence and the Falcons. I mean, and the Jaguars. So yeah, I mean, just that should be something to really look forward to this week. And as you just like the whole NFL slate. I mean, when you look at last week within the division, a lot of teams had problems. They aren't the only team who lost. The Buccaneers lost last week. They got crushed on Monday Night Football against the Eagles. They got jumped on.
Yep.
So that was something that helped them out within the division. You got who else lost? Didn't the Saints lose too?
Yeah,
and they lost a quarterback too, Derek Carr. He down. He hurt his shoulder right there. So, yeah, I mean, just a lot to really take in when it comes to the Falcons. So, once we get those fixed up, you know, tomorrow. How about that? We'll let them see some Arthur tomorrow. So, no, but just getting back though, just real quick though. I know you touched a lot on UGA against Auburn. It seems like UGA got their offensive groove back, though, right? I mean, just kind of when you look at what they are and what they are. First couple games, I thought it was kind of slow with Carson Beck and quarterback.
I'll just go ahead and give you these. Georgia's offense averaging 41.5 points per game, and their opponents are averaging 11.
Okay, well that looks like vintage UGA then.
It does, dude. They've only given up 45 points, so
that's wild, man. I mean,
they're scoring 166. So let's see another big number, big disparity. Let's see.
But this is probably the first game that they've had, though. When you think about it, when you think about where UGA is at right now, this is probably the first game that you look at and you go.
I mean, South Carolina, they were down at half, 14-3. So
true, but when they were down 14-3, did you ever think at any point that they were going to lose that game?
I mean, honestly, I didn't know much about the team, but. Of course, that second half they came out and played pretty much perfect. But yeah, at that time, I definitely thought they could lose for sure.
You did.
I thought this was like going to be the Missouri from last year. You know, Missouri game 2022.
Yeah, I remember that. That was
now
a close
they obviously came back and they won, but
that was a close one.
It was a nail biter the entire way.
Yeah. So. I never felt like they were going to lose that game. You know, even though they were down 14-3, there was never a point in that game where I said, you know, this game's in trouble. I mean, I think UGA could lose this one. So, yeah, I mean, I do feel like they'll win this game against Auburn. I haven't seen a lot of Auburn this season, but I mean, obviously it's going to be a hostile environment. They talked a lot about that. A lot of their young players, you know, this will be Carson Beck's first road game in the SEC, right, as the starter. So that's going to be interesting. So I don't know. I mean,
they don't have Ladd McConkey. I don't know about his availability.
Is he ever going to play?
I don't. Him, Javon Bullard. I'm not sure what his status is. Amarius Mims. So. You know, you've got some key players out, but you also still have Brock Bowers healthy, so that helps.
True. Yeah, that's true.
Just throw it to Brock.
Just get to Brock. When in doubt, get it to Brock, right?
Yep.
So let's wrap this up here by saying what's on your mind. I'm going to let you go first. Leave what's on your mind.
So kind of along the first topic we were talking about with Desmond Ridder.
Yeah.
The Jets.
Oh, man.
I feel like Zach Wilson could most certainly be one of the other four that get benched and just probably. I don't think Zach Wilson's going to end up being a Jet at the end of the year. I just don't think he makes it out of the season. There's no way.
I just don't know how you can run him out there, 14 more times this season, just based how bad he's been.
Could you imagine having to having to look forward to that every Sunday.
Well, I tell you what, I mean, another guy who might be on that list too, I have to look again, is I don't think he's going to get benched because I don't think they have a great alternative. But, boy, as much as this was talked about being like that next step year for Justin Fields, it hasn't been that.
Yeah.
Like, he barely threw for 100 yards last game against the Chiefs. I mean, I think like 99 yards he threw for in the last game. I mean, that's unacceptable. I mean, him and Zach Wilson, just think about that draft. They were in the same draft, and that looks like two really bad picks right now. I mean, I know even with Justin, there's been whatever you want to call them, reasons, excuses, or whatever, saying, they had a bad head coach, so they replaced the head coach. They said Justin didn't have enough weapons with the Bears, and they got him DJ Moore from Carolina, who's been a 1,000-yard receiver.
Has not done the thing.
And it really
doesn't
hasn't.
Matter.
No. I mean, so with those two kids, with Zach and Justin Fields, man, I don't know that there's really anything that's going to get them on the right track.
Yeah. I mean, it's kind of crazy to think somebody goes from, the highest of the highs in college like that and then, boom, humbled.
Yeah, I mean, it's just kind of, now that's happened a lot. Now
it has, but it's just, I mean, he was like everywhere with Ohio State. And
well, I hate to say it, Lee, but I mean, you know how that goes, man. Ohio State quarterback's in the league, and that pains me because I'm an Ohio State
we have an Ohio
fan.
State fan saying that too.
So it pains me. But look, at every other position in the NFL, Ohio State has had star players. I mean, whether it's running back, definitely wide receiver, offensive line, defensive line, the Bosa brothers. I mean, these guys have been great elite level players in the NFL. But there's just something about the quarterback position at Ohio State that doesn't translate well to the NFL. I don't know if it's a system thing. I don't know if those guys are protected well. I don't know if Ryan Day or Urban Meyer were just such good coaches there that they were able to sort of hide some of their flaws. I don't know what it is, but for some reason that translation to the NFL hasn't been great. But there is hope. C.J. Stroud, like we talked about him earlier, with the Texans, he's done a really good job. He's done a pretty good job early in the season, passing for a lot of yards. They're 1-2. They upset Jacksonville. Yeah. So I'm hoping, as an Ohio State Buckeyes fan, that C.J. Stroud can be the savior as far as Ohio State quarterbacks in the National Football League.
Hey, just kind of along that note, so C.J. Stroud got picked. Guess what their other first-round pick, Will Anderson's doing? Who, by the way, is an Alabama grad.
From Alabama? That's
He's kicking tail, dude. Other than Micah Parsons, he's got the second most pressures on quarterback per snap. So,
okay. Hey,
pretty good for a rookie, right?
Well, that was a pretty good draft class then for the Houston Texans. I mean, yeah. I guess they're on their way.
It's working out.
Hey, so look, it's been cool doing sports tonight, Lee. We'll jump back on it here. Will you be back on it tomorrow?
I don't know. Maybe.
All right, well, we'll figure it out, man. We'll figure it out.
You guys will just have to stay tuned to see.
Stay tuned to see. All right, well, that's been Sports Tonight on a Thursday. We'll be right back at you tomorrow for some more Sports Tonight. Check us out later.